Hey y'all, welcome to Antiracist Newbie, Wild Horse Lake, Steen's Mountain version. I'll tell you why these beautiful surroundings have anything to do with our anti-racist practice. This work is fucking hard. And when we show up to do this work, we need breaks, we need rest, we need good solid periods of recovery. Because to do this work well is to open ourselves wide open and to be really vulnerable and to look in the mirror at what we have to learn and what we carry inside us that is freaking dangerous. And what I continue to see is that even though I've done years of therapy and decades of journaling and anti-racist classes and equity and inclusion training, that I must continue to look at my own trauma and how I get triggered, or I'm going to show up in dangerous ways. And you're going to have to forgive the yelling in the background, which is the dads and my kids yelling about all the trout jumping here at Wild Horse Lake. They're good interruptions, I think. And I encourage you to interrupt your daily flow to do excursions like this too. And I'm hopeful for all the folks that are joining book clubs to read White Fragility and to read So You Want to Talk About Race and Stamped from the Beginning. I am so encouraged by all the white women who are signing up to learn with Rachel Cargill, signing up for anti-racist classes, watching more movies on Netflix that are told from a black perspective, learning the history of how this country was founded. Y'all, that is the work and it's great. And we have to look at our own fuckery, because if we have a tendency to avoid conflict, I promise you that's going to show up. If we have a tendency to be self-righteous, that's going to show up too. If we have a tendency to get defensive, we are not going to be able to accept feedback of how our good intentions are causing harm on this journey. And so we have to continually both look in the mirror and find at least one person who loves us unconditionally and is able to say, I see what you're trying to do, I love you, and I have some really hard feedback for how your own shit is getting in the way of how you can do this work well. And I've been tripping all over myself, and I am cutting myself off of social platform in any ways other than liking Black voices, forwarding and sharing Black voices, directly quoting people who are much farther along in their equity journeys than I am. Because while I have a strong voice and a powerful voice, I still cause harm, and I need to recognize that. And that's okay. You just pick yourself up and you keep on going. So I want to tell you that I'm really happy if you're watching this for any amount of connection, that in order for us to correct each other, we have to connect first. And it's okay to take breaks. And yes, that's our privilege. It's a hell of a privilege for me to say, I'm going to take a break from thinking about race and come out here to this beautiful frickin' place. Look at it up there behind me. We're up at 9,000 feet. Far eastern south corner of Oregon. Not everybody gets to do this. I work for myself. I get to take days off. Granted, they're not paid time off. But you know what? This anti-racist practice, it's harder than being a mother. It's harder than marriage. It's harder than running a small business. It's harder than therapy. And so I say that not to scare you away, but to be really honest. And that for 10 years, I've worked with amazing leaders from across sectors And I've learned something from all of them. And I've seen all of them do some work. But I've also seen a lot of them not ready or unwilling to look at their own fuckery. And if we can't look at our own fuckery, we cannot really begin to understand what our power and privilege does in our places of leadership and use that power and privilege for good. And I see people who want to do that, but who are in their 40s and 50s and have yet to have someone in their life who loves them unconditionally, and have yet to have people in their life who can call them out on their shit. And I see a lot of folks who respond so much from that defensive place that it's really hard to find their growing edge. And so if you find this patient too, or hard, I want you to be patient with yourself, and I want you to figure out, how do you find one person to do this work with? And to know that if you have ever been putting off therapy, now is a really good time to look into that. And with so many therapists doing telehealth, I can help you with that. I've got a long list of 20-some trauma-informed therapists that I would be happy to forward to you, and can do Zoom therapy with you wherever you are. And I'd also be really willing to help you understand your health insurance and how to pick and find a therapist. Yeah, that's the message. That's the message. Take good care of yourself. Go for a walk. Go for a hike. Get your ass out in nature. I see you. I love you.